Welcome back to Fit Tested. My name is Dr. Nate. I'm a physical therapist, and in today's video, we're gonna be unboxing and taking a first look at the Chirp Contour. Now, before we get started, I do just want to acknowledge that this is an expensive gadget, and I think it's really important to put stuff like this in its proper context. Tools like this should be thought of as tools. They should be thought of as additions to actual rehab or recovery. They should not be thought of as substitutes for those things. With all that being said, I think one of the best things about devices or products like this is that it puts the control back in your hands. All right, that's enough yammering for now. Let's get into the actual unboxing. All right, let's start by popping these tabs open in the back. And we'll see if we can just slide the Contour out on the table here. All right, a lot of this air bubble packaging, which is good to see. All right, there's our first look at the Contour. And actually, I think we have this thing upside down. By the way, Chirp did send me this device for review, but they are not paying or sponsoring me at all to say good things about it. I told them that I would be honest in my review and that I would be upfront that I can't endorse this as a magical fix for pain or injuries. With all that being said, if you are interested in picking up a Contour for yourself, I'll leave an affiliate link down below in the description, which helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. All right, so first impressions, the Contour does seem to be very nicely built. The majority of this seems to be wrapped in what is probably fake leather, but it is very soft and plush and feels fairly durable. And then right down the middle, there's this very thin black sheet of what feels like nylon. It sort of feels like that weather wicking shirt material that is really stretchy and cooling. So from what I've seen, there's actually a compartment here in the back of the Contour. So if we pull this latch on the bottom, there we go. Instead of having a separate bag or needing to store all these components somewhere else, it's pretty cool that you can just throw them in this hatch and keep it all together. All right, so I've pulled out the 3 rollers here. This first one is what they call the soft roller. That's the least amount of pressure. This middle one is what they call the Contour roller. That's a medium amount of pressure. And then finally, we have the deep tissue roller over here, which they say is the most amount of pressure. And from what I've seen, all you have to do to install one of these rollers is snap it into place right here on the track. So you line it up with the 2 locking mechanisms here and just press down. And there you go. So now we have the soft roller installed. Okay, there's a few other things in the compartment. The first one is the remote control. So this is not wireless, it's actually wired straight into the device. So we'll definitely be taking a closer look at this remote and how this thing actually works. And then we got something else here. This looks like a power brick. It's really not that heavy. It felt a lot heavier in the box, but this is honestly pretty manageable if you want to carry this around or if you were storing it in a closet or throwing it under a bed. I think most people would have no problem transporting this or moving it around their house. All right, the setup process should be pretty straightforward. We have the power adapter plugged into an outlet, and then all you have to do is connect this end of the cord into the Contour itself. We're just gonna plug that in here, and already this thing is coming to life. Those 2 pieces at the top just moved. All right, so we're gonna read absolutely no instructions and just play around with the remote. So first step, I'm assuming, is to turn it on. So right now it looks like the roller is slowly making its way up towards the top. Okay, so it looks like we're on the roll setting, which is probably why it's doing this. And it's on the lowest setting for pressure. All right, here goes nothing. Okay, so the remote is pretty self-explanatory. Up at the top, we have some neck settings. So I'm gonna press the massage button and see what happens. Okay, so I turned on the neck massage and you can see these rollers up at the top are going crazy. And just below that is the back section. So there's a few different buttons here. We have a heat button, pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna turn that one up all the way just to see what it feels like. And then from what I can tell, there are 3 different modes. There's roll, decompress, and target. So right now we're on roll, which again is pretty self-explanatory. The roller is going up and down from top to bottom. Okay, the heat is starting to kick in. That actually feels really good. It feels just like a seat warmer in a car. I gotta say, even with the soft roller on, this is way more pressure or intensity than I was expecting. And this is on the lowest pressure setting, so we're gonna try going up from here. We're going up to level 2 out of 3. Yeah, that's even more intense. And then let's go to level 3. Yeah, that's pretty legit. This is a really strong massage. All All right, we're gonna drop down the pressure a bit. That's a bit much for me. All right, so that's the roll setting. Let's try decompress. Okay, so decompress is actually really nice. It's sort of like this wave pattern where it goes up and down. So it's slowly working its way up and down my back, but it's also oscillating up and down as it goes. To be honest, this probably isn't a true decompression in the way that you'd think about it. To me, it feels just more like a wavy massage. All right, and then finally, let's take a look at the target setting. So I'm assuming this will let you pinpoint a certain spot. Yeah, so when you hit the target button, you then can access these up and down arrows, and you can get the roller to go to a very specific spot. So that's kind of nice. That's probably one of the best features of this is if you have a certain spot that you need to hit, you can go right to that spot with pretty good accuracy. So for me, that rolling massage is sort of uncomfortable at the extreme ends, like when it's way up in my upper back or down by my tailbone, but it feels really good in that sort of mid to lower back area. So with the target setting, you can get it right in the spot you want. And the heat is super nice. The heat is probably one of the best features of this. It's a very comfortable, warm heat that feels good with the massage. Okay, so that's the neck and back settings. And then below this, we have a few different, what I think they call routines. So there's a warm-up routine, a recovery routine, and a relax routine. Let's start with the warm-up routine. The neck roller has started. There's still heat on, and it's rolling with low pressure. So I think it actually shows the settings that are happening when you press the routine. The neck one is actually super nice. It sort of rolls around your neck and your upper traps. All right, so recovery is the same massage settings on the neck, but it looks like the heat went up and now the roll is on the second level of pressure. Again, I haven't looked into this, so I don't know if I lie here for 5 minutes if it'll change up over the course of the routine, but let's switch to the last one. This is relax. Okay, so relax looks like it's the same neck massage setting, still high heat, and now it's on the decompressing setting. Yeah, this is probably my favorite one. The heat feels good, it's got the neck massage going, and it's doing that nice wavy decompressing pattern. I gotta say, this thing is way stronger than I anticipated. It literally pushes your entire body up and down as it rolls. I sort of expected this to be more like a massage gun where it's a little bit more surface level, but it really feels like someone is digging into the back of you with an elbow or a knee. That actually feels insane. It feels like one of those like airport or rest stop massage chairs where it's like that really deep massage and heat, but it's actually really nice being in this position. You can sort of relax into it a little bit more. I'm gonna do a much more in-depth review after playing around with this thing for another month or so, but first impressions are honestly pretty good. My biggest questions about this product before getting it were around the build quality and intuitiveness of how to actually use it. In terms of how intuitive or easy it is to get set up and get started with it, that is a 10 out of 10 for this thing. All you have to do is plug it in, and then from there, the remote is pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy to navigate, and the compartment at the end of this just makes it super simple. Everything's self-contained, and when you want to switch out the roller, you just hit the change roller button, pop it out, and pop in the new one. So I guess my biggest question and what remains to be seen is the durability of this. I think the overall build quality of the Contour is really nice. I guess the biggest question I have, or the biggest unknown right now, is the durability of this fabric on the top. This is really what's gonna get the brunt of the wear and tear on this device, with the main roller and the neck roller constantly stretching or pulling on it. So we'll see if it holds up with a lot more use, but I think in general, first impressions, it seems like a really solid product. And it's pretty cool how much customization you can do with the individual settings to match your needs and what you want to get out of this. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and be on the lookout for my full, more in-depth review of the Chirp Contour in the future. Thanks so much. I hope the video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.